Well, good morning, everybody. Jeff Slakey here on Daybreak, and as usual, the second and fourth Tuesdays of the month, I got a great guest in studio, Scotty Mills from Keller-Williams. He's brought on Phil Harlan from Keller-Williams. Morning, guys.
Good morning, Jeff.
Thanks for coming on the air, talking with me about ongoing real estate issues. This will be the first show. This is the first show of 2018. So quickly, if you guys have got some numbers to share on how 2017 wrapped up, how it looked with 2016, you got some good news for us? What do you got for us?
Yeah, but Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Phil's got some numbers.
All right, Phil, what do you got for me?
Well, I think it's really interesting to look at how Mason County wrapped up 2017. In 2016, total residential sales were about 1,171 properties, and that was 2016. And in 2017, it increased to 1,421 residential sales. So a pretty significant increase there of 350 units.
Yeah.
To go along with that, we saw some market increases in the median and average sale prices. Average sales price increased about 10%. So I think some equity gained. Yeah. And that's a good thing for homeowners. The challenge is for those trying to enter the market, or it starts to create even a higher barrier of entry for homeownership.
For sure. The legislative session is just getting underway this week, and I know traditionally the realtors will head up to the Hill and talk to their elected officials and try to persuade them and encourage them to help out the realtors in the state. You guys were planning on going up there when, on the 19th or something like 18th?
January 18th, yeah, Thursday all day.
So how does that work out? What do you guys do, and how many of the legislators do you get a chance to talk to, and what kind of changes are you trying to push for this year?
Well, traditionally how we get together, of course, the night before we get together, do the installations of the incoming officers, and there's a dinner there. But we get there early in the morning up at the Red Lion Hotel, and the buses will divide us up by district. And so you get realtors from all over the Washington State. I mean, how many, Phil, we got coming in?
We probably expect to see somewhere between 350 and 450.
Wow.
Realtors come in from all parts of the state. Spokane, Walla Walla, Bellingham, Vancouver, all will be strongly represented.
Shelton.
Isn't that something? Yeah. That is quite a contingent that heads up to the Hill.
It is. It is.
The lawmakers, are they responsive to some of the concerns and questions that you guys have? I know for sure this year, hopefully we'll get some sort of a fix to that Hearst decision. I know in Mason County, the rural counties of the state, that's a big deal. When you're talking about that, what are some of the other things that you guys are trying to impress on them this year?
Well, the big current theme, too, is always that home ownership matters and what home ownership brings into the economy. And, of course, as we get closer to Hill Day, we'll get the bullet points and things of what topics of discussion are going to be on that. Of course, again, the water thing is kind of top of mind to a lot of people and how that's going to play out. There's been some changes. I know in Pierce County, before you go out and do your well, and of course always consult your well drilling company. They really got a pulse on what's going on with that. Is you're going to have a hydrologist come out traditionally now and see what the aquifer impacts are going to be there.
When we look at some of the other things that you guys talk about how important home ownership is and kind of crunching these numbers, trying to get people into the homes, the Feds just passed this big sweeping tax plan, and we're starting to feel some of the effects of it. Do you think it's going to have any major impacts in Washington, or are we kind of a unique state in how we do business? How's this tax bill shaking out for folks?
Well, Jeff, I think it's going to be wait to see how the public reacts, and I appreciate the opportunity today to talk with you a little bit about, because there may be some misperceptions.
Sure.
I mean, as the legislation was moving through the House and Senate, what actually came into the bill, what was voted on and actually came out of the bill. There's a lot of misinformation out there. So just to firm up a couple of the the items that are real estate related that can affect homeowners at a time when they're either on a day-to-day basis, on an annual basis when they file their income taxes, or at the time that they decide to sell their property and acquire another one. So what I think is really important is that we make sure that people understand that the capital gains exclusion remained intact. There was some conversation about amending that portion of the tax code and extending it to 5 years, that you had to stay in your principal residence 5 years before you had the opportunity to exclude capital gain. That did not happen. When the law passed, it actually retained the previous language, and it still remains that an owner of a principal residence can sell every 2 years and exclude capital gain up to $250,000 filing single and $500,000 filing joint. So still leaves that opportunity for folks to be able to climb the property ladder, to have mobility, whether it be a job or a family situation that causes that mobility to happen. But it gives them the opportunity to not have a big tax burden from the sale of their principal home.
So when it comes to this and other issues, who are the ones that are talking to the Congress people about removing or adding or changing the language? Is it a realtor association, or how does that work?
Well, we have our RPAC, Realtors Political Activist group, and a very, very strong group, a lobby up there. And again, there are people such as Phil, who was a past president of Realtors and is very involved in government affairs of those natures. So there is usually a group that will go in, and as again, we do our districts, and we go through and just educate our legislators and senators on what the talking points and the concerns are on that home ownership.
Yeah, I think it's a real coordinated effort. We have coalitions of groups, and of course now we're talking about federal legislation with the tax code, coalitions between the bankers and the home builders, the realtors, and several other consumer advocacy organizations that want to promote home ownership and make sure the benefits of home ownership are maintained. We as a realtor organization function very similarly as we do on a state level, where we have specific realtors assigned to every legislator, either representative or senator at a federal level from their districts. And we have relationships with those representatives or senators, those legislators, and we are talking to them on a consistent basis about legislation that's in front of them, sharing with them the information and the positions that we take in our quest to protect home ownership in America.
You talked about the capital gains and that remaining the same in that language. The mortgage interest deduction, that did get lowered in this bill. Does that have major impacts in Mason County or Thurston County, or is it more the higher end Seattle's where their average home prices are, $750,000, something like that?
Yeah, I definitely think that the high cost areas are going to be more significantly affected because the mortgages are higher. Yeah. I mean, if you've got an average price point in Seattle, $750,000, of course you're going to have to take out a larger mortgage. Yeah. New York, New Jersey, some parts of Florida, the Miami area, definitely Southern California are going to be impacted by this legislation. The misinformation I think that's out there is that there was a cap on mortgage interest deduction on loans up to $1 million. Mm-hmm. It always existed in the code. The proposal and conversation around that proposal was to lower it to $500,000. Well, we met in the middle on the end, the final legislation at $750,000. So the people that are really going to be affected are the people that have mortgages between $750,000 and $1 million. Now, one point to make: those are mortgages that were generated or originated after the law came into effect. So if you do have a large mortgage right now, you are grandfathered in and still have deductibility up to $1 million. The other point I wanted to bring to your listeners' attention is that this is combined mortgages. So this could include your principal residence and a vacation home, so to speak. So as long as your combined mortgages are $1 million or less right now, you still have the deductibility. Moving forward, if you generate, you will have a limit of $750,000.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and that's nice that it's on multiple homes there that you have.
Yeah.
It's not
It does, we have some areas in Mason County here that are driven by the second home market. So that second home deductibility is extremely important to keep those areas vibrant and their economies moving forward.
Yeah, when you get out areas like Union, Alderbrook.
Sure. What are some continuing trends that you guys think you'll see into 2018? Still record low interest rates moving through the year, or is it really just kind of depend how things shake out? We've been in a pretty nice increase in home pricings and things since '08 or so. Things have started to kind of slowly build back up here in Mason County and things like that. Does those trends continue? We still are we in a bubble? Are people considering this still a real estate bubble? Is there a sign of a burst anytime soon?
Well, from what I'm seeing, it's still carrying over to a strong market. Looking at the interest rates this morning, they're still at 4%, under 3.8, so the interest rates are still favorable. However, traditionally, what you might start seeing in the spring is, they tend to maybe want to tick up a bit. It's all just driven on supply and demand a little bit there. But I'm optimistic. I think 2018 is going to be a blast. So,
Yeah, my 2 cents on that question would be, inventory is a problem right now. Houses to sell. In your Mason County statistics, you increased your sales, but your listing of properties did not increase at the same pace that the sales increased. So we're actually a negative sum result of properties available on the market for people to buy. So that's driving some price. The Fed has talked about increasing interest rates, and people typically will borrow money and their payments based on the cost of that money. And I think that may suppress prices again. But I don't see anything like we did in 2005, 6, 7. I don't see loose lending standards to obtain a mortgage right now. You have to be well qualified. I don't see overbuilding, and the potential for overbuilding is limited because of the creation of buildable lots and the wait time it takes to get those lots to market. So there's some factors in there that I believe will show us we may not see appreciation at as steep incline as we have over the last almost 10 years, since we hit the bottom and we've started to come up. I believe we're going to have a leveling out of the market and not as rapid appreciation, but I still think we'll see a strong, modest appreciating market. And we've created a new normal, in my opinion. This is the new normal. The challenge, again, and I alluded to it earlier, is home affordability.
Yeah.
I mean, for young people, and the real estate market depends. We need about a 40% first-time buyer market to be able to push people out of their first homes into their second homes while the new buyers buy those entry-level homes. And if we don't have that 40% market, the market does get a little bit out of kilter. And I just am a big proponent for people being able to create their own destiny and their future by owning a home.
Yeah, Phil and I talked even, over coffee and chatted that, coming in 2018, what's our goal? And we're really passionate about getting people, first-time home buyers, into a home and get them in a place where there's equity. Because there's more homes now that have equity than traditionally years ago, where you owed more to the bank than what your home was worth. So Phil and I get together, say to ourselves, hey, let's help 50 people, 60 people in 2018 become homeowners.
Well, that'd be a great impact in the community.
And that's why we embrace the audience to give Phil and I a call. And we'd sit down with them and talk about the process, and we have a free selling guide. We can sit down there and walk them through the process and just make sure that they get information that we want them to make the great decision. We were on an appointment this morning. People, do I go to Ocean Shores and live there? Do I stay up here at Lake Cushman? Do I go north? They're making some lifestyle choices, and this is going to be their last home. So Phil and I just go up there, we look at the property, evaluate it, we'll go back, get the market data, and come back, and then here's some information for you so you can make a good, sound decision for your life. And
There are plenty of ways to connect with both Scotty and Phil. Scotty, we'll put these numbers as well into the show notes here, but you can always call Scotty, text him if you wish, 253-405-2936, and Phil's at 360-701-5688. Check out online at olympiahomestore.com. Phil, Scotty, it was really nice talking with you guys.
yeah,
Thanks for the opportunity,
Thanks.
Jeff.
See you in a couple weeks, Scotty.
Yeah, we'll see you. Okay.